Hello, hello. What's going on, chat? Hello, welcome to Behind the Roleplay. Hope that y'all brought y'all snacks and your drinks. Hope you brought your comfiness, your blankets, even. I don't know, anything that big fan. Oh my God, is it the Sassiopath? Oh my God, what's going on? Hello, welcome to the stream. Hello, Panda. Hi, hello. What's going on? By the way, Sassy, the talk show or the podcast or whatever you want to fucking call it, it's got a big upgrade. I don't know if you may have seen our previous episodes of the amazing show, but the amazing Panda over here is the artist that is made all this possible. She draws like the person that comes on like a little avatar or stuff like that. And so it's not just a picture, but she's done a phenomenal job doing so. And if it wasn't for her, well, see, so I'm glad you brought that up. We actually have two guests on this podcast, by the way. We have the one and only ArcaneAdam, and we also have a nice heaping bowl of rice as the guest. So when we bring them on, we're gonna not make him nervous. Okay, we're gonna have a nice wholesome podcast. Okay, it's gonna be great. I'm gonna enjoy it a lot. So it's a nice bowl of rice. It's gonna be our second guest. So we're gonna bring him in. We're gonna talk about his behind the role play of Adam. So let's go ahead and bring him in. Hello. So
it's me.
It do be you.
Oh my God. Why?
So this is I asked him before he came on, so you don't have any weird things towards bananas, do you, by any chance?
I don't know if I should be talking ever.
I thought just well, Panda was asking me when she was drawing, she was like, what would you want if, like, instead of microphone? And I was like, I don't really know what would like go well besides a microphone. And she was like, why not a banana? And I was like, oh, a banana. I was like, you know what, fuck it, let's put a banana in there.
I mean, I guess I like potassium.
So, I mean,
bananas are pretty good.
Yeah, they make you hard, right? I mean, it's right.
Yeah, but just not like that.
No, not like that. Okay, I got you. But again, thank you so much, man, for coming on. It means a lot that you came on. This is more of like the second season of this talk show, and I know we were trying to get you on before, but scheduling and all that fun jazz. And so we're gonna kind of dig into your characters. Obviously, the one that we have presented is Duey. With Duey, he's a police officer, right? And with having like a police officer, like, there's always action packed. Like, there's always something going on. Is there ever a moment where, like, it's just overwhelming, or is it kind of just like something that's just like you just get used to at some point?
Yeah, I mean, it definitely gets to be a bit much at times. There's a ton of criminal activities and crime and all these different ways for things for us that role play as cops have to respond to. So there's those days where it's just back to back to back, and I'm at one scene and then I'm off to another scene and then to another scene, and it can definitely get pretty taxing, but we try to do a good job, at least especially within our department, within the troopers, to kind of acknowledge that and try to like split things up. And I think we're in a good spot right now where we have a ton of officers. We've had a few big academies and cadets coming on and stuff like that, where it helps kind of even out that workload. But I mean, there's those days where I'm working 3 hours straight, and it's just like bank truck to store robbery to bank robbery to drug calls to shootings to it's everything, right? So it can definitely be a lot, but it's fun, and I enjoy the character a lot, and I like being involved in all that stuff.
Were you expecting, like, kind of how obviously Duey is a trooper, that's very high rank. I may not understand the process of kind of like on how to become that, but with how high of rank that is, like, were you expecting at all, like, the I guess the highness of rank that Duey is at right now? Or was, like, you making Duey a cop, was it just like, oh, I'm just gonna make him a cop and then kind of just like stay in one spot? Or did you have to determine and be like, okay, make him like a very high ranking officer type thing and just kind of like just basically just stay as, I guess I wouldn't say like a cadet, but like somewhere just like a, not as like a high rank, I guess. I don't know if that makes sense or not, but
No, it makes sense. And so, you know, anytime I create a character, it just kind of depends on where I see them at that stage of life, I guess is the best way to put it. So, you know, for Duey, I was like, what's a different way to approach becoming an officer, right? Like, what's a different way to be a cop? And for me, it was like, okay, well, what is the opposite of a cop? Well, that's someone who's probably, you know, homeschooled, sheltered kid who's a nerd who loves Dungeons and Dragons and doesn't have, you know, a ton of friends and is not very, you know, outwardly there, is still very awkward, young. And I was like, okay, let's make this individual become or try to become an officer, because, you know, you never know when you start that if you're even going to make it. And, you know, my whole process and thought behind it was, you know, role play first. You know, I wanted to make a fun, adorable, lighthearted character that hopefully anytime anyone reacts with them, it's a positive experience and it's a fun experience. Because I also know that, you know, at times that's needed when, you know, you're playing, you know, as part of the police force. You know, we're the ones that are always, you know, trying to stop all the activities and stuff happening. So for me, it was like, let's put the role play first and let's just see how far this goes. And I remember my first kind of fake interview when I first approached the PD, and it was Bishop and Dawson, and they're asking me all these questions, and I'm like super nervous and like stuttering and like, you know, not confident at all. And you know, I'm talking about, you know, my mom and how she kind of put me up to this to become a man and all this stuff, and, you know, fun thing. And, you know, and they're laughing, but like, there's no way you're going to make it like this. You know, you don't have the chops, but they're like, you know, come back, do the interview. I do the interview, go through the process. And then I pass academy, and I'm like, okay, well, now I'm a police officer. So what does that mean? And it's like, well, you know, he's never been confident. So it's going to take him a while to, you know, pick up things and own that confidence and stuff like that. And as much as like me, Adam, as the role player, knows, you know, SOPs and knows, you know, 10 codes, and I'm very confident in my driving, I role play not, you know, like, and, you know, sometimes I'll even like crash and things like, or do things that are ridiculous because like that was the role play. That's the character. Right. And, you know, I'm always like, hey, character first. Right. But over the course of time, you know, it was just, it became kind of like everyone taking Duey under their wing and trying to like show him, you know, a different side of an individual, right? And saying like, hey, you got to take charge, you got to gain confidence, you got to be, you know, XYZ if you're going to succeed. And through that, and through the brotherhood, and through just the various job of, you know, getting stabbed and taken hostage and shot at, and, you know, all these things, like you mature, right? And you grow. And so that kind of happened. And then, you know, I grew within the BCSO, and then I was like, man, I really like Duey wants to make this a thing. And then eventually, you know, just through hard work and determination, and, you know, I think kind of some of the role play, got the opportunity to join, potentially join the troopers. And there was a whole arc of, you know, interviews and all that kind of stuff. And then there's a junior trooper phase, you know, and to get him to where he is now was not what I was really expecting, but, you know, and I didn't know what the path was going to be when I started out. And I guess that's the long-winded answer, but yeah, I'm happy that he's a trooper now. I think it's pretty great in the group that we have. We riff off of each other very nicely, and we try to do things a little different. And, you know, at least for me, I always try to bring a different perspective and make things fun.
Absolutely. I like how you said that though, is that like, obviously with how Cop RP can be very intense, you know, because like, you know, you get the people who are trying to do their Grim RP, which nothing against Grim RP, people love the adrenaline. You know what I'm saying? They love that that feel of like I gotta get away to like get this money, whatever. Which nothing wrong with that, but there are times where it's like you kind of need that character to kind of come in to like be the relief that of just like, you know, I don't know, just like that relief of, okay, this is just a seat, like this is just obviously it's just role play, but like you kind of need that, like you said, like the relief character, I guess, you know, kind of have it to where like it's just a breather, you know, take a step back, take a breather, and just kind of go on, you know, move on from that. So with how you've kind of, sorry, there's something in my throat, bro. Hang on.
Well, no, you're good. You know, and I can kind of expand a little bit on that topic of, you know, like everybody RPs differently. Everybody has their character, and, you know, some people want to go out there and they're the strict, straight by the book, you know, cop. You know, some people, you know, are a little bit more trolly and relaxed. Some people have, you know, iconic voices or, you know, that kind of thing. And that was kind of my concept with Dewey, was that, like, you know, laughter, you know, kind of a sweetheart, you know, super nervous, especially early on around any female, like just doesn't know how to interact like whatsoever, you know, like it's a sheltered kid who's like out there with like hardened criminals. But like my goal, you know, is never, you know, to get the W or to, you know, nag the criminal after a chase. My goal is to make every experience with Dewey fun in any kind of environment, and really understanding that, hey, I'm here to role play, and, you know, I want to be entertained but also be entertaining, and that's the whole concept. And so, you know, it's I rarely ever get frustrated. It has happened on occasion, but, you know, that's just the state of, you know,
that's just role play in
passion,
general,
and people are
to be
excited.
honest with you.
Yeah, so
I mean, there's been times where I get frustrated at certain, I mean, like the old Mr. Ink stuff, like that stuff, a lot of stuff that happened got really frustrated, but I was like, you know what, it's whatever, you know, I like it's happened. I can't be like, all right guys, OOC, by the way, let's just rewind this real quick, let's just take this back. Thank you, and can I get like a heal real quick from the admins? Thanks, appreciate you, fam. No, like, I mean, if it happens, it happens. Gotta move on from that. But like you said, a lot of people are passionate, and some people like myself, roleplay in this server is just an outlet for me, you know, and like for my, you know, for some of my creativity. RP pause, exactly, yeah. I don't know, it's just like it's very outlet, you know, it's very like I go in this server and, you know, long list of too many fucking characters, which, by the way, I like to complain again, can we just boost up the character list to at least 20 maybe? Just throwing it out there.
20? Oh
20,
my god.
I need, yeah, 20. I complained a little bit. I was like, I need more than 5, and now it's like I need more than 10. I think it's like 10 now or something like that. I don't know. I think it's about 20. Then we'll be steady. But yeah, I mean, like I use each character obviously as an outlet, and passionate can be good, but sometimes it can be a bit much. But so I kind of want to step away from GTA roleplay. Now, you have experience with D&D, which is a different type of RP, which I feel like is like, I don't know, like it's not limited, right? It's kind of like you can kind of just do whatever you want. You can have your character however they want to be. Certain interactions, like if someone says something or something were to happen in this character, then this action would happen. Is there a moment where you kind of prefer D&D over GTRP, or do you just kind of like, you just love them both the same out, or do you like one more than the other?
You know, I think my first love was D&D. It's kind of the first kind of experience with roleplay that I've ever had. And then, you know, I found GTRP afterwards, and you know, many moons ago, started slowly getting into that, and then eventually found my way to Echo and just fell in love with the community and the people here that were running it. And, you know, now being a part of that is, you know, I consider an honor. But, you know, for me, I kind of approach it in the same aspect. You know, whenever I'm building a character on D&D, you know, there's obviously rule sets that you follow, right? Like, oh, you gotta pick a race, and you gotta pick a class, and, you know, like, you know, you got to build out your attributes, and, you know, all of this stuff. You kind of follow that guideline, but that's really just to get the core of the character, and the person is the one that's really in charge of bringing that to life. And so much like with GTA RP, as well with D&D, like I look at whatever character I'm creating, and then I focus in on that. So okay, what drives this character? Why is this character here? What's their backstory? What things have kind of led them to this point? And then I leave it pretty open for, you know, the role play to kind of play out, because I don't want to limit it. Like, obviously, if I'm creating a high level crim, then it's like, okay, eventually I want to be the head honcho of a cartel or whatever it may be, right? Like, that's just an example. And that could be a lofty goal, but also the role play may take that a different direction that's unexpected. And to me, I always want to kind of follow those natural progressions and paths, right? Just naturally on how RP happens. So when D&D, you know, I could have a specific goal in mind, and hey, we're here, this adventuring group, and we're going to go take out this bandit king, and then, you know, something happens and all of a sudden, okay, maybe we're not doing that anymore, and that's totally fine. But I try to keep, you know, that same core concept together of, I'm building out a character. This character has their own ambitions and intentions and weaknesses and strengths and worries and all that kind of stuff, and I remind myself of that anytime I take up the character, and then I just go into role play and I role play as that person would, to the best that I can. And hopefully it's entertaining and true, and you just follow the story.
Damn. Okay. Damn, you made me get all fucking hype. Like, I'm just like, you know what, bro? I'm ready to fucking role play. Let's fucking do this shit. And I'm just like a fucking hype man. I'm just like, Jesus, dude. Like,
I love it. Like, much like you said, it's, to me, it's a creative expression. Like, if there's one thing I regret, I don't want to say necessarily regret in my life, but one thing that I wish I could have done or should have done like younger was try to do acting. And just because, to me, it's such a great way to creatively express oneself. And, you know, that's why, you know, I do 4 D&D shows a week, all streamed. And I play different characters on every single one. And, you know, that I do that with the joy of sitting around with friends and you know, having some drinks at times, and just playing the game, but also to entertain, right? Because we do it for an audience. Yeah. So, you know, playing a character and then having people, you know, even in GTRP with Echo, right? Like, having people love your character, having people want to speak to your character, to see your character. You know, it's every time, you know, I go around the city, you know, at least, you know, every single time it's always like, oh my God, Duey, like, you know, what's going on? You know, blah, blah, you know, like those kind of things, you know, having people resonate with your character, you know, and helping tell stories that people deal with in real life, but like helping them kind of like either escape that, or, you know, recognize and synergize with that, you know, or just be enamored by whatever story you're trying to tell, is like the most rewarding thing for me. Because, you know, it's like, that's, at the end of the day, that's what I want to do. I want to entertain, and I want to be, you know, some sort of positive influence on someone if I can.
See, I like that shit though, to be honest with you, because like, I like it when I don't really know how to explain it. Like, obviously Jimmy's like my main character in Kree and all of them, but like, when there was a moment where it's like, it's because I kind of want to say something, but I don't know if I could be wrong. But the way I kind of feel is like, sometimes like in RP, there's times where things just kind of happen, like it's like a repeating stage, right? It's just a full circle to where like nothing really changed, nothing really is different, right? Some days it's just the same stuff and over and over again. But there's some moments where there's an opportunity for something to like, something different could happen, and it's like, oh my God, like either two things, right? Either I can just react to it and then move on, or I can dig into this and like make so much fucking RP from this and make it to where it's not a normal instance. Like, I don't know if that makes sense or not, but like, I don't know, it's just have it to where, you know, if there's an opportunity for some type of different outcome, oh my God, I'm gonna take it, you know? Like, I don't know, having like that different reaction with your character, I think that's one of my favorite things too, is that, you know, whenever someone like brings up something to any of my characters and it's something that's really simple, but I just go, I don't like that, I don't think I like that idea or whatever, and it's just like, oh okay, because like if he was like normally are like, oh yeah, sure, why not, you know, whatever. But I like having that, like stopping that main circle, or having the same action over and over again. But
you always have control, right? Like of the RP at the end of the day, right? Like, because that's the whole point, right? You know, whether it's D&D or it's GTRP, like control of your role play should never be fully given to another individual or another situation or anything like that, unless you're allowing it, because that just takes agency away, and like that's the worst thing that can happen. But also, like you said, like the repeating, or like, hey, we're gonna cycle through this again, type of thing. Like, you always have that option.
Yeah, and I think that and obviously, like you said, always in control, but sometimes I kind of like the feel of just for my own characters, I guess, like just to kind of have that that kind of like I can't control the situation. Obviously you can control the situation, right? You can literally, technically, through RP, you could technically win any situation, right? Like, you can win anything if you really put a lot of energy into it. You can. But I like when my characters kind of fail, or like if they can't achieve certain things. I think that adds so much more character, because like I literally tell people, oh, Jimmy can't drive, like that's why he rides a bicycle everywhere. But in reality, it's just that my PC sucks and I can't drive that well, and I have horrible headaches. But I have it to where Jimmy just doesn't drive cars, and all my other characters, they have different flaws and stuff. But sometimes I like having it to where like my character has flaws, and he loses or anything like that. But I know what you mean, though. Sometimes it can be a bit much, though, right? Like, have it to where whenever the people try to control, I guess, like the narrative, I guess, if that makes sense, which can be a bit much, though.
Yeah, there's a right way and a wrong way to do it. You can be open to like Dewey gets taken hostage, right? Like, one, that's just general role play. I can't stop that and be like, hey, you're yes, that's
does that happen, by the way? Does that happen?
It has happened once. Yes, one time.
Oh,
well, in a serious capacity, where like they were actually trying to send a message. This was a while back, but they were trying to send a message, and Dewey just happened to be the one that they grabbed. But the funny part about it was, I mean, I know who it was, like OOC, like I know who it was, right, or whatever. Yeah. But obviously in character you don't know. But it was so funny because they're like, they roll up and they're like, oh man, it's Dewey. I don't know if we could do this. Like, oh gosh, I don't. And then they're like, they're driving, and then like even when they're doing, they're like, man, we're sorry, it has to be you. We feel so bad, but like they're like, this is part of the role play or whatever. But like,
would they say that? They say this is the part of the role play.
No, they didn't say that verbatim, but like, you know what I mean? Like, it's a part, it's a part of the message, right? Like,
no, it's okay. This is part of the role play.
It's like part of the role play. Yeah, it's like, what?
Wait a second.
What kind of role play are you doing? But it was there's those things that you let happen because it's the natural progression of like whatever the story or narrative is, right? But anytime that they're like, I'm gonna shoot you and you're never gonna wake up again. This will kill you forever, and it's like, no, it won't. Like, or whatever it may be. Like, you don't let the agency get taken, but you follow it. Yeah. And you can fail, and you can lose, and you can, like, life is not all, happy, right? True. Life is not all like everything works out. People struggle, people struggle, and, they have setbacks, and, they take L's, and that's just a part of life. And, that should be how it is with RP. People, I think, focus too much on like, specific things, and, they forget that like, hey, we're here to role play and have a good time. And like, you've put a lot of time into planning something. It didn't work out, and that sucks. But at the end of the day, it's not even real. it's role play. So
yeah, I mean, I will say, again, I'm not trying to bash or anything. There are some times where like, money is very on demand. Sometimes it's just like,
it's a motivator.
It is a motivator. And then a lot of people, there's some arguments that there are times where it's like, people are like, oh, like money is no part of RP. It kind of is. It's a little part of it, because like you said, it's the motivator to like, just push through and kind of just like, I mean, I don't know, like how my photographer Curry, like, he through RP took pictures, playing like that, got his own office, stuff like that. And then the same with Jimmy, like with Legacy, it's like, through like doing shows and stuff like that, whatever, like it is a big motivation, but at the end of the day, it shouldn't be like the core thing, but but I can definitely. I do question though. I do want to see your thoughts about this. Is that like, I know obviously through roleplay, is that like if a criminal, like, you know, group people, whatever, grabs a bank, right, and it goes on all day. Is there a moment in your head where you're just like, if this was like actually IRL, like the amount of robbing banks, the bank, there would be no money. There would be no money, right? Like,
yeah. No, I mean, I've thought of. I mean, that's you know, and that's the understanding of it's still a game, right? And it's still enjoyable. You know, to me, I don't want to see, nor would I ever be a part of a group that would constantly hit banks. Like, to me, it's like if you're hitting a bank, that needs to be something that's like planned out, very special. Like over, you know, like really work out the details, come up with a cool escape plan, like those kind of things, like, you know, and like you can hit that. And, you know, I'm not saying that it's like necessarily wrong to hit multiple or whatever, but like, you know, to me, it's like, you know, there's the understanding that it's still a game, right? There's the understanding that you're playing a game and you're having fun. But we also, especially at least on, you know, Echo, right? Like it's a serious role play server, right? Like we want to have serious role play and, you know, we want to have, you know, a sense of realism, you know, and that's what we try to do. And so to me, it's like, you know, if the motivation is just to constantly make money, then you're not doing it right. In my opinion, it should be about the role play, because criminals need cops and cops need criminals. And if without criminals, there's no point of having police officers. If there's no police officers, you know, then like, what's the point of, you know what I mean? Like, you're just getting paid then, like, you know what I mean? Like you need both, and you need to role play with both. And, you know, and some people care about specific things, and that's, you know, that's totally fine. But just for me, like, I could care less if I catch the criminal at the end of the day, because like, you know, we're taught, at least like from a role play perspective, the hostage is the most important thing. And then second is civilian and public safety. And you know, third is, you know, your police safety, right? So it's I will never go to a situation where I know for a fact it's going to be a shootout and we're down. Like, you take the money. It's not worth civilian lives. It's not worth the police lives. You know, like take the money, you take it, you know, you're good. Yeah. You know, I'm going to walk away, because it's more important for the role play to be like, hey, these are the important things. So, you know, when we're understaffed, right, and we have so many calls going on all the time, and then we approach a store and it's just like me, I'm like, hey, just give me the hostage and you guys are free to go. And to me, that doesn't bother me, because I'm here to secure the hostage, make sure the hostage is safe first and foremost. And as long as I do that, I've done my job. Yeah. And, you know, they're going to do crime again. I'll catch them later. You know, if I crash out, I'll catch you later. You know, good job. You know, you outran me, but good luck outrunning me.
Oh, Jesus. But no, but I know what you mean though. It's kind of like a give and take, I guess, with that type of situation. I may not understand that, because I have horrible anxiety with being a crim. I tried to take someone hostage, I think in like 1.0, and I got pulled up to him, had my gun, you know, running upstairs. I pulled over and I started running to him. I was like, ah, fuck this, I can't do this. Like, it's just the fear of it. I don't know how criminals can do it. I don't know how they can do it. I don't know how they can just take hostages, but it's the most scared thing, because like, you don't know how the person is gonna react. They can just shoot you, you know, and like that's technically it's a self-protect. Like, yeah, they're protecting themselves, kinda, right? Like if they like feel scared or whatever. So it's just like, oh my god, I don't know. It's just, that's one of those things where like I just could never do it. I've tried, but I've told you the story, right? About how like my character was like in a gang, and like they didn't even talk to him in person. They just sent him an email, but like, yeah, you're out of the gang. I'm sorry. It's like,
yeah.
Fuck,
yeah,
man.
You told me about
fuck.
That.
Like,
you're not gangster enough.
I'm not. I like my character recorded Ellen. Like that was his that was his thing. Like he was just in his basement just watching Ellen. So, but yeah.
And that's the role play though, right? Like you have a character, and like what's great is that you took the initiative and you tried it, and then, you know, obviously it didn't work out. You know, could they've communicated a little bit better than just sending an email? Probably, but probably, you know, it's like I've played on different servers previously and things. Like I've played a wide range of criminals. One of them was just a crazy old prospect miner that I also, you know, I've played on Echo a bit. That's just dumb and like wild and crazy. doesn't wear a mask ever, just like goes to the, like does crime, but stupidly. And like, it's again, it's about the role play. That's always what it is. And I've played a criminal in my past life, I suppose, that was a cartel, one of the heads of the cartel, and was running guns for the entire like city and the server. But very few people actually knew what he did because, to me, my criminal RP, unless I want to make like a Southside gangbanger, like my criminal RP is like, behind the scenes like a criminal should be, right? Like if you're choosing a Southside gangbanger, like there's a understanding that, okay, you're repping a flag, you're repping a set, you're identifiable, right?
Yeah.
To me, like any criminal RP I've done is like behind the scenes. I don't want anyone to know that I am a criminal because those are the best kinds of criminals. And to me, it adds a sense of realism. It gives something for the PD to figure out. And so I moonlighted as a real estate agent, and that's how I made all my money. So I would clean the cartel money through my real estate agency by selling homes and properties and stuff, all massive value. That's how I would clean the money, right? So no one knew that I was I was a cartel leader selling guns, and it was fantastic because I did that for months and months and months, and never got caught, which I think was a testament to an exciting part of that kind of role play. So, but it's all in what you want to do. If you want to make a fun, crazy criminal that wants to be weird and watch Ellen or whatever you want to be, like what I mean, like do it, and enjoy that and see where it goes.
Oh, I got a crim character I kind of miss playing, but I'm still kind of like getting over a little cold. Underpants guy or whatever, like. Or he just took a shit on oh my god, just take shits on cops.
Like it was like your anime guy, right? The guy with like the
this
anime
is
that was the other one.
Yeah, the other guy was anime. Yeah, he would he would shoot a gun and hurt his finger, so he couldn't shoot the gun. So he would every time he would shoot, go ow 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 ow, and like and just trying to do that. But yeah, I think that's something that I think a lot of people kind of, I don't know, honestly, to be honest with you, like, because there's a lot of times where people they've come they come to my streams and they'll say like this is their first time like trying role play out, and they don't really ever expect like character, what I'm saying, like they know that you're playing a character, but some people don't expect that you're really in, like you're playing a character. I don't know if that makes sense or not, but like the only reason why I say
for sure,
because I don't know, I'm really bad at wording my words, but like some people aren't used to that, and when they find out that they find out that you're you're actually playing a character that isn't like you, like it's just like I don't know, the reactions are always also priceless, because it's just like yeah, that's not I don't lactate OOC, like
that's a straight up lie. We all know that's not true.
Maybe the occasional lactator in there.
No, yeah, no, absolutely. I had that conversation just the other day, actually, and it was it's funny when I first brought Dewey in, no one knew it was me, because no one knew, right? Like it was just a new character, and it was like, oh, okay, like, but to me, like, I think there is creating a character and role playing as that character. But like really diving into it, and then there's like creating a character and that's the character, but I think any character has some sort of extension of yourself, because you have to, right? Because you're the one there, right? But I think there is a difference of like, hey, I'm going to create a character, but they're going to sound like me, and I'm just, I'm going to do what that role play is, right? And then I think there's individuals that create a character and try to push the boundaries of what they're comfortable with, or what's something that's so far removed from them that they're like, they're trying to create experiences in RP for others. And I think that's part of the difference, is that you can create a character and you can go in and you can role play and you can fit the dynamic of what role play is for that character. And then I think you can go in and you can really try and think outside the box and say, how am I going to help facilitate role play for others? And how do I make that better, right? Like, for me, if I was playing a criminal, I would purposely try to find or leave at certain points breadcrumbs for the police, because I want them to be able to have CID and to investigate these things and start to put together pieces and things like that. Or Dewey is all about good time and trying to be positive, and also I go out of my way to try to understand criminals because I understand their perspective in a sense, and I want them to uh, anytime that we arrest someone and anytime someone gets mouthy or anything like that or says anything, I'm quick to correct because I'm like, hey, just because they're a criminal and we caught them, regardless if regardless of the situation, our job is to make sure that they are safe and healthy, even if we're arresting them, right? Like we got to make sure that they get proper medical attention and that they have everything that they need because that's what our job demands. And also, understanding, like, to me, if something goes south and it's not their fault, like if something happens, I'm the first one to be like, okay, let's see how we can work with this because this was out of their hands, and like you don't want to punish someone for that. You know what I mean? It's not their fault. So, yeah, sorry, I rambled a bit.
Oh don't be sorry, bro. This show's about you, baby. You know what I'm saying? Like we're dissecting it and everything. Well, so with the whole breadcrumb thing, I obviously had a lot of experience with that. I didn't even know there was a CID, to be honest. I really did not know. I don't really know a lot of stuff about PD stuff, so I think it was actually a really fun experience for me, just in general, to kind of like see that, because I got a little glimpse of like the file that it was on Mr. Ring. There's a lot of shit. Like CID had so much, like just every possible thing, and the crazy thing is that they mapped it out to where they were like guessing like what would be his next, like they had like people's names who would maybe his next victim, stuff like that. To see that people, because all I know is obviously like OOC, like the work be put into just music RP in general. I've never really noticed like, or even really know of like cop stuff that people do OOC, because like some people don't know that a lot of stuff that happens behind, like especially DOJ RP, cop RP, especially medic RP, stuff like that, like a lot of stuff is OOC time. And to see that it actually, people putting time into this file, and it's just like, damn. Like I didn't really really exactly leave too much breadcrumbs, because I kind of keep it that way a little bit. But they made something of it though. Like they took those little bitty breadcrumbs and made a whole fucking loaf. You know what I'm saying? Like it was so fucking crazy to see that shit. And it was so.
Well, I think that's part of the. So one of the things that I've noticed in any city that I've ever been in, right? And this goes, I think, for pretty much anything, is opinions or thoughts or word of mouth things I've heard. Like, oh, I heard about this thing, and then they tell someone, and then that someone tells someone, and it just, there's all these assumptions or expectations or things that people hear about, and then it becomes fact when it comes to certain situations or scenarios or how things are working, and it's like completely opposite. It's like the polar opposite, but it's someone said this once, and that's the gospel. But that's not necessarily the case. And I know with PD, that's one of the things that they've been really internally trying to improve on and build on. And, some of that comes to like server things, like having a lab and being able to run things and capture this, and that's really something that we're trying to push and promote, because, it's a break from the norm of, okay, I'm going to go answer this robbery. Okay, I'm going to go answer this bank truck. Yeah. Okay, I'm going to go answer this, like that is fine. And that's a part of it. And that's enjoyable. But it's the good stuff of like putting together stuff and, having raids, or trying to find a serial killer, or, trying to understand who's the true leader of a certain, organization or something. Like these are all things that we're constantly trying to work on and trying to do, because we want it to be a good experience. And so much so that, like we let people know like ahead of time if we're raiding, like half the time, because like, it's like, hey, we want to give you the opportunity to like, defend stuff, but like not, break out of, the mold of like, oh, I'm just going to go move all of our stuff. Like, no, that's not the role play. Right. But it's like, hey, we want to give you the opportunity to be a part of that RP.
Yeah,
because again, that's all we're trying to do.
I was going to ask that. How the fuck does that work? Like if the people are like offline, like do y'all just send like an email to them like, hey, we're raiding your shit, by the way? Or do y'all just kind of like, Like what?
Well, I
Like how?
mean, yes and no. I
Like
don't
how
I don't
does
want to
that
go
work?
too
Well, obviously, don't
I
go
don't
too
want to go too into the details,
it. Yeah.
but yeah, I mean, we never try to take away people's agency when it comes to role play. And we know that, as much as our job as officers is to take down criminals and to, stop crime and to keep people safe, we also, there is an understanding, and I don't care, what criminals say, there's an understanding from the officer side of the amount of RP and work that goes into building up those things. When we do raids and we go in and we take all kinds of class twos and drugs and stuff like that, we understand the amount of time and effort and work and struggle that went into doing that. So, we try to be fair to the point of, giving people a heads up, but not giving people enough of a heads up to just curb the RP and go in and like take everything out, because it is a lot of work and people work hard to get that stuff. Like
Yeah.
it takes months to accumulate a warehouse full of stuff at times. And so we want to facilitate good RP and the fact that hey, this is coming and we're going to attempt this, and you can be there and react, or you cannot be there and react, but it's happening. And we try to do that, and that's always the goal, at least from my perspective. And whenever I'm on duty, that's always the thing I'm pushing is hey, we're here facilitating this. Let's do it the right way. Let's make sure we're understanding their side of things, and let's have a good time.
And okay, so it's kind of like a, hey, we're doing, like you said, like we're doing this, and then if you want to react, not to. So there's a chance for them to actually like have a chance to I guess give that role play to like them try to protect their spot. But like, is it ever a time where like they just don't, or is it just always like kind of like they come by to make sure that their place is what they built is like always protected?
Not that I'm aware of, and I can't really speak to that because Dewey's not really SRT. I just know from conversations as being now, like you said earlier in the show, like Dewey is a part of command in a sense, right? Like so he has privy to a lot of that stuff. But to my knowledge, we try to, but that doesn't mean that we're gonna stop it. Like if we have to, and they, if people can't react, like we try to give the opportunity, you know what I mean? But like also we can't just sit there and wait and wait and wait, because if we do, then 90% of people are going to go in and they're going to clear the warehouse out of everything. And so it's we have to give them enough time to have the opportunity to facilitate the role play, but we also have to facilitate our role play and saying like, hey, we did the time to build up this case. We got it approved through, the legal means. We scheduled and got this whole thing squared away. And, now we're doing it because, as much as we're trying to give them RP, we don't want to get our RP denied either. And, unfortunately that happens. Unfortunately, if you give too much of a time, or, if something gets leaked as much as it shouldn't, people will clear stuff out because, they do take a ton of time to build that stuff up and work that stuff up. And, instead of letting the RP facilitate and then going from there, it's like, hey, no, I put too much time and energy into this, so I'm gonna pull it. I'm gonna pull it all, and then we're gonna save it, and then do it later. So, but yeah,
does shit actually get leaked? Like, does that actually like something actually?
I think you'd be naive to not think that. I mean, with so many people having different characters and stuff like that, like so many people are knowledgeable to so many things. You know what I mean? Like it's nearly impossible. I know that the PD is taking leaps and bounds to try and keep some of that stuff, specifically the high profile stuff, very behind closed doors and not letting people know until like right beforehand or whatnot.
Imagine being a big criminal. All of a sudden, it's like, we're raiding this character. You're on your cop character. You go, oh, I gotta pee my head all of a sudden.
I'm going 1042. I'm going 1042.
FA log out. FA log. Guys, what the fuck is going on?
Yeah. Like that's part of it, right? Like, it's being involved. And I think you take the perspective of, okay, who do I want to be in this situation? Do I want to be the cop on the other side of it, or do I want to be the criminal that's defending what it is? You know what I mean? Like, so I think it's always the criminal is always going to have the favor on that side, because on one hand, the cop gets handed everything in a sense. Like you have to do the job, and there's expectations and things like that. But like you go back, you restock, you buy all your stuff, you know what I mean, and then like you get back out there, right? you have to fill out forms, you have to explain things, all that kind of stuff, right? There's a lot of paperwork that goes into being an officer, but like you're not really at risk of losing anything, like really. Whereas on a criminal side, you have to work for everything you get. And I understand that. And so, I understand like really wanting to defend that and hold on to that, because it's a bigger impact to lose all of that, because you've had to work and sweat and grind and get everything figured out to own all of that stuff. And then to have it all taken away is rough, because you can't just go back to another base and be like, all right, well, I guess I'm going to restock up on my PD9 and my armor. It's like, no, you just lost all of that. So now you have to rebuild.
Yeah, see, I can't do that, bro. I like Civ RP too much. Yeah,
well, I mean, I like Civ RP too. Everybody has their, your favorite thing. I haven't played, I guess it's not really true, but I haven't done a like serious criminal stuff in a while. It's either been Civ with Will Avery, a lot of Duey, or my I guess you could say criminal RP with my lifer, Dr. Tobias, who is the cannibal.
Everyone's
but
left,
other than
though,
that,
right? By the not like the lifers, like majority of the people who like were in there for nights like are pretty much like charged out, right?
yeah, I mean, I think the doc is still there. It's just it's busy, like,
oh yeah,
like you said earlier, like scheduling and all that stuff. But like, I mean, I still am a fan, because that's a different type of RP. I see that as more like creepy and suspense and like almost like more mental psychology. I mean, that's how I play that character. Is he's a cannibal who basically had 7 people trapped in a like a warehouse that he was feeding off of slowly over time.
Jesus,
like pretty messed up character, pretty dark, creepy character. And so he has this mask that he has to wear the entire time, because if it's unlocked, he's not trusted to not eat people. So and so I have this voice. I don't know if this voice works. Let me.
Hello. Oh yes, it's so wonderful to meet you. I find that you're very delicious.
Bring back Duey. Bring back Duey.
So it's this thing where, but he's all about like psychology and like, mental and like why people do what they do and like, all of these things. It's just, it's a different take on role play, and it's fun and it's creepy, and like people tell me like all the time, like, dude, like stop, it's creepy. And I'm like, good, because that's what it's supposed to be, like I want it to be enough where it like kind of makes your skin crawl and you're like, oh my God, this guy creeps me out. I don't want to be alone in a room with him, because you shouldn't, but without pushing it too far and making someone truly uncomfortable, right?
Yeah. Well, I think that to be honest with you, the amount of people that were like, oh my God, like I'm so like Sync is so fucking scary. I'm like, doesn't really talk. I'm like, he just kind of stands there. I was like, I guess that's the scary aspect, right? Is people of someone just like no reaction, just full on just looking at you,
It's the persona, right? It's the persona and what's built up, and again, like word of mouth, right? Like what this person has done is horrible, and like creepy, and and then just popping up at random parts all over the city, and like all this stuff. Like it's that build up, it's that persona that is kind of built up, you know what I mean? Like, and that's a testament to doing a character correctly for a long time and really, really pushing that RP versus, like forcing it quickly just to come to some sort of like conclusion.
I don't know. I know that there's been a lot of people in the server that's been doing like circular RP and just kind of just doing stuff like that, and sometimes they do kind of like, it is a bit much, because there was times when we were doing the Winterfest, and like there's a character that just kind of came around and started stabbing a bunch of fucking cops and dropping them from on top of a building, and it was just like, I was in there. Okay, so I was in there as Jimmy's just dancing in the back, right, and I start really focusing what's around me, what's going on. There's like 2 dead cops like on the ground beside Jimmy. Jimmy's just there dancing. Christian music is blaring from the front of from the event. I was like, bro, there's just so much going on. I was like, I don't really know how this RP can like get looked at or any reactions or stuff like that. It was just so much going on. And so, I mean, I don't know if I ever told you this, but like with the whole like Mr. Ink thing, with the story kind of building up, it all started with Tony Fox being like, he missaid Mr. Ink's name and said something else, and Mr. Ink hunted down Tony Fox and got him, right? But then after that, it was like somehow everyone that Mr. Ink would attack, it was somehow connected to Tony Fox, right? It was somehow connected. I mean, it was so fucking weird how like we would attack somebody and then they'd be like, oh my God, like that's like Tony Fox's like closest friend or whatever. I'm like, what the really? I was like, oh my God, okay. And then
but that's part of it, right? Like
that was accident. Because it was so
I was there on the other side of that at with Dewey, when a lot of that stuff was going down and like trying to, lots of conversations about trying to piece together that kind of stuff. And like you said, you got like a bit of a sneak peek of, some of the stuff that went into that. But like that was a big ordeal, right? Like that was a big thing that, it was a big case for the police. And, it was trying to figure out, okay, is there a method to these killings? Why is this a thing, or these attacks or whatever they may be? Like what is going on, and trying to find the threads. And so they're looking and tossing over every, like rock, and, some of those things kind of come out, and it's like, oh, and like, even if you were like, I had no idea, like I had no idea that was a thing, but now that's a potential thread, right? Like that's a potential connection.
Yeah. That's the thing though. The majority of the shit, I was just like, I'd watch a cop shoot, just see like their point of view. I'm like, that makes perfect sense, but I did not put any plan into that. I'm like, you know what? Run with it. You know what? I like that. I'm like, you know what? Fuck it. Why not? But like a lot of stuff was like, it was just like on obviously like on the time, like, okay, like we're gonna do this, gonna get this person. And the funniest thing is when, Ink like posted on Instagram, whatever, like the picture of, I thought it was like a wolf or whatever, but couldn't find out it was a fox. And like it got tied back to Tony Fox, and it was just like every fucking thing led back to Tony Fox. I was like, all right, guess Tony Fox is like,
guess I'm going to kill Fox.
Yeah, well, he already did. Technically, he already attacked him. Yeah, it was bro. It was everything. It was so bad, bro. Oh, it wasn't bad.
I will tell you what, on my other character, Will Avery, I hated you.
You had it. Bro, you had so much fucking shit. But I'm still upset that you didn't get to go more into that though, personally.
Yeah, well, I mean, it was difficult because like one, I was trying to find you as that character, but also I'm playing a cop who's like involved in that stuff. So like one, I keep things pretty separate, but it was like it's difficult, because you pop up anywhere. Like you played them very smart, so it was like. You tweet pictures and stuff, but like, you're not there, like, and everyone like runs there to like try and catch a glimpse. And I'm like, I'm not dumb. Like that was taken, forever ago and now just being posted. Like, come on, not dumb. He's not gonna be dumb enough to like, hey, here I am, and then run. Like, no. So, but yeah, I mean, it was, he had an interaction and then like several of his close friends were attacked or killed. And it was, I mean, I had some serious angry vengeance roleplay stuff going, and I'm not going to go into details because there were several layers, and even got involved with like Bishop and some other stuff. But it was really good. But it was a really well played out thing, and it came to I guess a conclusion. But again, that's just part of the roleplay that was facilitated with the events that led up to a lot of those things. And it caused a big stir.
It caused a really big fucking stir, and I didn't think it was gonna be that big of a stir. It was a little like overwhelming because like you never really know people want stuff to happen to their character until they DM you, being like, "Can you please fuck up my character and make it to where they cannot fucking walk or anything?" I'm like, okay, chill. I'm like, take a breather. Okay. Breathe in. Okay. You good? What the fuck is wrong with you? Like, I get.
Are you okay?
Are you okay? Like, do you need like therapy? Like, I know a good person, what I'm saying, is a can, but anyways, but I don't know. It was very overwhelming, to be honest with you, because like the whole, like, I've never seen a server like waiting. I mean, there's people in the server just driving around, just waiting for something to fucking happen with Mr. Ink. And I'm just on Jimmy fucking doing shit, whatever, and just fucking vibing, whatever. People are just being like, like, oh, I'm looking for Mr. Ink, like, watch out. Bro, the funniest, craziest thing was that they started doing lockdowns. And like, it was like absolutely like, they took it serious. People were being locked down in the hospital, and like, in different businesses that had lockdowns. People were locked in the building, having like little night stays and stuff like that. Nobody was ever in the city. Jimmy was just driving around, and then Tony Fox pulls him like, Jimmy, what the fuck are you doing? It's a lockdown. I'm like, what the fuck? Mr. Ink ain't even real, bruh. And it's just like,
what is he gonna do with me? Huh? What is he gonna do with me? I'll lactate on him.
Milk me, please. You know, and it was just like, it was a crazy to see that side of things, because like, no, I just didn't expect it. But I will say shout out to Shawnee and Heartfellow, or AK Aria, for being the daughters, for bringing so much more RP. They brought more RP than I thought they were.
Anytime you want creepy, you know, just talk to Aria.
Just talk to Aria.
You can do creepy for the best of them.
True.
I will say, I really enjoyed the encounter at the morgue with Will and Shiloh and Mr. Ink. And I always love telling this story because, you know, and I think this is important, right? Like, I, again, am always about the narrative and the story and building that up. And so at that moment, you know, we were going towards the back of the room because, you know, she was freaking out. And I was like, okay. And you were supposed to walk in and we were not supposed to know. Yeah. But as I was walking back, I panned my camera and saw you walking down the hallway. And I had two options. One was, okay, pull my gun, lay out, and that's that. You know what I mean? Or two, I let the role play continue and see what happens and where it goes. And to me, role play will always win 100% of the time.
Absolutely, yeah. And
so I saw you and I was like, nope, Will did not see him. He's going to walk and he's going to console his best friend while she's going through a tough time. And then you're going to appear, and then it played out, and it played out so freaking like bone chillingly good. You know, but I wanted it, right? But like, I could have chose a different path, but to me, it's always role play, you know, and I think there's a lot of people that probably would have turned and blasted and been like, I'm the guy that shot Mr. Ink, you know, or whatever. Yeah. But like, to me, I'm like, no, this is a long, good RP. I want to be a part of that story in some capacity and see where it goes. And that's one of my fondest kind of interactions, you know, on Will in terms of like narrative and story. So I really enjoyed it.
It was that's fucking crazy. Like that whole morgue incident, like it was it felt like I was watching it like a TV show or a movie, because you know, Ink didn't attack Shiloh. He attacked Will, and I think that's like the biggest statement, I feel like, because easily, you know, I could have just been like, okay, I'm just gonna attack Will and also attack Shiloh, but I feel like the fact that Shiloh wasn't touched, she had to witness it happening. I think that's where like Ink was like, okay, mentally gonna fuck her up, to where like she just, you know, she's seen her friend get stabbed by someone who's done multiple killings, and has, you know, attacked a lot of people. And she gets to see it happening, which was like, oh my god, it was like the cherry on top. And then as soon as I walked off, she was like, she said, oh, see, she was like screaming like or something or whatever. Like she's like, like actually screaming or whatever. And I'm just like, I don't know. Again, in the crazy part was that as I was like walking away, like closing the door, I could still hear it, like her screaming, and I'm just like, damn, this is crazy. And then,
well, I mean, that's a testament to Bonnie. She's an amazing RPer. Like true. I've role played with her for a while now, and our characters became really close friends. And I got to see a lot of great story pieces, even with Gil from a different perspective on Will versus Duey. But she's just incredible, and so she's all about the story and that drama, and all of that stuff. But like. Yeah, I was blown away by like her, like, oh my god, I was like, holy shit, like I was like, are you okay? Like, are you okay? Like, because I'm like sitting there just like coughing up blood, like, you know what I mean? Like, and I'm just like, holy shit. And then
are you actually okay?
Yeah, you know, and then you've got freaking Lauren, not Lauren, obviously not the character, but you know, Trooper Bloom, formerly known as. She messaged me and was like, that entire scene was fucking amazing. Like she was like, that was incredible. And I was like, yeah, but like, that's what you want, right? That's what we strive for, you know, at EchoRP, is like to have those really good role play moments to get you enraptured into amazing storytelling and all that stuff.
It was, I don't. I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't think I could ever do a story like that ever again. Because that story took so much, just brain energy. You know what I'm saying? To like put that. Maybe someone told me they give me a year and I'll be able to do it again. But like, it was a really big story, you know. And I think like the first really big story was Mr. Smiles. That was short. That was hella short story, but. All I did was just chopped off the head of a mayor and got the 9s. Like it was very, it was very short. You know, it was very short. There wasn't really any story. A lot of stuff happened I didn't like, but I said fuck it, whatever. And you know, when I had my drink, I was like, okay, like I really want to like make this a slow burn story. I really want to like. Not have a lot of people involved, but I want to have it to where the people who are involved technically aren't really connected, but somehow they're connected. Like, you know, like they know of the situation, like they know of it, and it's driving them to whatever they need to do type thing. But yeah, I think it was a very good success, and I really wish that the Will stuff would have went more, but sadly I had to end the Mr. Ink story.
Yeah, well, I mean, you know, hey, there's other stories to be told, and that's the great thing about role play is you know, there's plenty more out there that can be done.
Yeah, very true. So I kind of want to dab a little bit on Will stuff, kind of with us kind of closing. So with Will, it's kind of like I don't really know where to start with Will. Like, what's kind of like. I guess maybe in the beginning of Will's story, he was like a Dynasty 8, right? Kind of worked there for a little bit, and then he kind of like left a little bit, right? And then kind of came back, and then just kind of like started working with Legacy, and then like was it kind of just kind of like well, was it kind of like that, or where it was like
yeah, I mean, so it was so Will was my main character for a very long time on Echo, and I civilian through and through, but you know, I built up a story, and that wasn't, he became a civilian, but I never set out to be that. Any character that I create, unless I have a predetermined thing, like if I'm creating a cop, for example, like you know, I'm being a cop and that's that. But if I create a character, so when I created Will, like he had enough darkness in his backstory and enough pain and enough loss, that when he came to the city, he could have gravitated anywhere. And I left that distinctly open. And eventually I found myself needing a job, needing to make money. And so I started working at Dynasty 8 while I was figuring that out, and eventually just kind of fell into that and really enjoyed it. And I did that for a very long time, and you know, made a lot of money and got to meet a lot of people, but it was kind of isolating in the sense that, you know, you're just constantly driving around, meeting people, you know, and all that stuff, but then you're leaving. And it was like, to me, I kind of saw it as like facilitating RP for other people, which I enjoyed, but like I wanted a little bit more. So it kind of got to a point where I kind of got burnt out a little bit on it. But, you know, I think it helped to be able to work closely with a lot of the people that I knew and friends and stuff like that. And so, yeah, I left and for a bit, then I came back and worked some more as a real estate agent. And then Carter and Julia approached Will and was like, hey, we want you to join the team at Legacy and help us out on the business side. And of course, I love everybody at Legacy, and, you know, it was a no-brainer to accept that. And then eventually I just started doing that. And then life got pretty crazy. And then, you know, I stream multiple times D&D. And then also that was like at the time when I had concepted Duey and was like, I want to try this out. And then Duey was such a wild success that he kind of just like took the reins. Like he kind of like, I was so enamored with the story and the reception and everything that like all I wanted to do was Duey for a very long time. And I've done that, and Dewey's been my main for a very long time. And now I'm starting to kind of bring Will back in because I've got the balance. I've gone through a lot with Duey, and so now it's like, okay, I want to have that balance of not going and doing 800 calls and 3 hours. It's like I want to go and just, you know, have fun and relax with friends and I think it's been difficult because I have a full-time job, IRL, and then I have all the D&D streams and stuff. So it's been tricky to find balance. And so while I was deep diving on Dewey, I kind of put Will to the side. But I'm appreciative that my friends didn't just remove me completely, because they could have, but they didn't, and they're allowing that. And now it's kind of become a meme. But in terms of Will is a lot like me, but different. I kind of put him as he gets himself in trouble a lot, but not like criminal trouble, but just like in what he says or what he does. And he kind of like, he starts rambling and he's like very loud and ecstatic and all that kind of stuff. But again, it's all about providing laughs and providing a good time. And if I need to, I can step in and do the serious business RP, like obviously doing that with like real estate and all that stuff. Like, I can sit down and I can have those business discussions and, I can do the serious part of that. Or if it's an event, I can help run that event and do those things. But, it's all about, the camaraderie of the conversation and having a good time and that kind of thing. So that was Will, and Will always have a special spot in my heart. And, I'm excited to start kind of bringing him back a little bit more to kind of reaffirm relationships and to just kind of see if there's a story that can be told there alongside Dewey.
See, and that's the thing that like I'm still trying to like kind of get is like balance. You know what I'm saying? Like there's been times where where like I get sometimes a little overwhelmed. Like I gotta be on Jimmy because I gotta do like some just to be around. Then it's like, well, I also kind of want to take some pictures, and it's like, well, I also kind of want to do this. It's like I also kind of want to do that, but it's just like. Yeah, I don't know. I'm still trying to figure out that balance, and like I said,
it's tough.
Still need 20 character selections. Thank you.
No, I mean it is tough, right? Because like I was not expecting Dewey to be that well received, or whatever. Like it became a surprise, and then it was just like so enjoyable to have this character that was such a hit that resonated with people, and people laughed and enjoyed it, and I released the freestyle rap, and people like. I swear that's all they asked was like, oh my gosh, when are you going to do another one? And I'm like, I don't know. And then I released a Christmas song, which is so ridiculous and like I think awful, but like half the city's like, oh man, it's so adorable and I love it. And the other half's like, this is garbage. And that's how it's supposed to be, right? Because I'm an officer, I'm not a rapper, but like it's fun, right? It's kind-hearted and good-natured, and like that's all that he's about. And so having all of that, I wanted to focus on it. And unfortunately, that means that Will suffers and those relationships suffer because it takes a lot of work to be an officer. And so the balance, I get what you're saying, because the balance is difficult because I want to be there and hang out with the legacy people or see a lot of my friends and go do wild adventures and stuff like that. But, at the same time, I have, duties and obligations that I need to fulfill on Dewey. And so it's tough, but you just have to weigh pros and cons and, try to find the balance when you can.
Yeah. And I think that you're doing very well, to be honest. Like, I think that with having a cop character, it takes a lot, there's a lot of things, a lot of time you put into that character. I think that, you definitely need to be around at certain moments. But I think that, with how you're still like, you're still around as Will, it's just that not as much as it used to be, which I think is like completely understandable. And I think that everyone at Legacy and everybody who is had those relationships with Will, I think just understands in general, because like see, it's like, oh, like he's just on Dewey, like that's just he has to have responsibilities.
Well, that's the understanding, right? Like and that's why I'm so appreciative, because like it makes complete RP sense that anybody could have gone and been like, hey, you're not around, we're gonna have to remove you, blah blah blah. But like instead they found a solution that kept me involved, that when I can partake in the role play and help out and stuff, I'm still able to, which I'm super appreciative of, because it is a family, it is a group of people that all really mesh and get go well together. But it's also like, even when I'm on Dewey and like I roll through and I see you guys all hanging out or something happening, I'm like, man, I bet they're having a blast. Like it'd be so great to be on Will right now. But it's such a cool thing to have everyone understand and be like, no, we love Dewey too. Like like I was totally going to help out at Winterfest, and then Julia was like, nope, Dewey's going to perform his Christmas song. And I'm like, what? no, I'm not. No. And then I did, and it was like crazy.
Yeah, like I mean, I don't know. Like you said, man, it's like, you know, everyone understands. I think the biggest question, right? And you better fucking answer this, all right? When are we gonna get a Wendell and Duey like team up where they do pop shit together? This needs to happen. This needs to happen right now, or I will send all my characters on. Every single 6 of them. I'll do it.
I will say first things first. Shout out to Wendell.
Wendell,
you know,
yeah.
I love Wendell. He's great. And the individual who plays Wendell had been nothing but nice to me. And I've jumped into a stream. I highly suggest you jump into a stream at times and check it out, because they're always great adventures. But yeah, no, that's a lot of people have asked about that, and you know, we've ridden together a few times. It's just been tricky. But the funny thing is that during the holidays, I took a break because I did some traveling to go home and stuff. And when I came back, the first like bit of time that I jump on the radio is Duey. Everyone's like, or even in person, people are like, "Thanks, Wendell." Like, "Thanks, Wendell," and I'm like, it's Duey, and they're like, "Oh my god, I'm sorry." Like, but it happens so much that everyone like calls me Wendell, and I'm like, oh my gosh. But yeah, it's oh, thank you for linking that, because I was like trying to get it while also talking. But you know, I remember the first time jumping into a stream, and he was so kind and so ecstatic that I was there, and talked to me about how much he loved Duey, and that he had created Wendell, and like he made it to a point so much that he was like, "Hey, I don't want this to be seen. Like, I had this idea. This is not like a, hey, here's Duey 2.0. This was like something I'd been working on." And he was so comfortable with it, you know, like and being upfront and honest and whatnot. And of course, I love the character, so I was like, absolutely, like, I mean, run with it. You know what I mean? Like, have fun. Like, I don't see that at all. Like, you know, and it's something that we've kind of joked about and worked on, and we've ridden together a few times, but it's just hasn't worked out yet. It just hasn't like fully worked out yet. But
oh, shit. Okay.
You know, I'll see what I can do about making that happen, and just seeing if we can find a day to just patrol together and have a blast.
Yeah, that would be that'd be some TikToks worthy. I'm not gonna lie to you. I feel like that would be like some good fucking content. Just like,
you gotta do it for the highlights, right? You gotta do it for the highlights.
Oh my god, absolutely. Like they're like the amount of like, I don't know, just to see them together, and like they're never really that together that much, mostly because of scheduling, right? Mostly like.
Yeah, I mean, he's able to be like, my schedule is so crazy in general. You know, like I'm in the West Coast, right, and a majority of people are East Coasters, right? So they're going to bed earlier. And then you know, four nights a week I'm on streams doing D&D. So and then work is crazy, right? Because I have a full-time, you know, career. So it's very difficult when I can get on, and then like with that time I have, it goes back to balance of like, okay, who am I playing for the 2 days I get to play this week? Like, am I playing Duey, or am I playing, you know? And it's like, well, I have to give time to Duey, but I also want to give time to Will. And luckily, you know, and I'll say this, even on the staff side of things, because if people didn't know, I'm obviously a part of staff at Echo, but like everyone in every aspect is so open and understanding to like my life and how busy and crazy it is and all the different things I'm involved in. But I think it's important to note that I try to communicate very effectively and often about that, just to understand the expectations. And so everyone's been pretty amazing and patient and understanding. And, you know, I do my best to try to make sure I'm hitting and you know, doing everything that I need to do, you know, not from just a staff perspective, but from like, you know, a role play perspective on Duey, with, you know, making sure I'm putting hours in and whatnot. And then, you know, not negating or, you know, forgetting completely friends or role play or anything like that. So it's been a wild and crazy ride, but you know, I've been super thankful and blessed and lucky, and I've enjoyed every bit of it.
Absolutely. I like I said, I think that you're a great RPer, man. Like you're phenomenal at what you do. I think that even though that you've been very you know, like I say, very busy with a lot of stuff, but I think that you bring so much quality and uniqueness to the table. I think for the in-depthness of with Will's RP that you've done, and the in-depthness of with Duey, like, I don't know, I just let you know, and if anybody's ever really told you that or remind you of how great you were. So thank you for being a part of Echo, man.
I appreciate that, and likewise, you know, I think you offer a ton of value and a ton of great role play, and I think you have a very good perspective on it. And so, you know, that's, if there's one thing I can leave the show with, it's just, you know, always just remember to try and put role play first and try to put fun and storytelling first. And if you do that, I promise you, you will enjoy whatever ride comes from it.
Absolutely, thank you very much. Well, with us kind of closing, anybody in chat have any questions for Adam? If not, we'll go raid somebody. If you want, you could choose who we want to raid. If there's anybody in particular that's streaming right now, you want us to raid.
Well, let's take a look and see if anybody has any questions first, and then I'll take a sneak peek at who do we want to raid.
But again, thank you. Appreciate everyone for coming by the show or podcast. I don't know what to call this, to be honest. I think it's a podcast, but I think it's a show. I don't know, but yeah, I love doing these though. These are nice little break, you know, because a lot of times people just don't get a chance to talk about like how they feel with certain situations or how like that role play made them feel, and sometimes they get a podcast west, I guess, you know,
a spodquest. Spodquest. I don't know.
Oh, did I ever tell you that someone tried to make like a off-brand version of Jimmy?
What do they call it, Timmy?
Yeah, like Timmy South, and they're gonna make a character where he has like blue hair and like. So I was like, I don't know if I like really want that or not. I don't know.
Well, all I know is that there is a individual out there that is in MDT that is named Duey Dorite.
Duey Dorite, really?
and it was told to me one day. I don't know who made the character. I've never met them or seen them. I think it was just kind of like a troll thing, or maybe they'll eventually bring them out. But yeah, and so I always joke around like, oh, that's automatically my arch nemesis. There can only be one. Like it's just like fuck? It's just that thing where it's like, well, no, I guess I have an arch nemesis now. Like, but yeah, I guess that's out there somewhere.
That's crazy. Oh shit. Okay. So I guess we'll kind of go and raid somebody. Do you have anybody in mind?
I don't necessarily. Let me take a look and see. I don't know if there's anyone that you want to, but
like I said, you can choose. I'm down for whatever.
We could do you could do Hams, JC.
Hams?
Also Salisbury from PD. He's a homie. I love riding with him whenever he's on cop and I'm on cop. Funny, good dude, and you can also see some of the best gang RP in the city when it comes to the triads.
All right. Well, again, guys, I appreciate y'all stopping by. Salisbury K. Oh, Jesus Christ. Again, I appreciate everyone coming by. It's been a phenomenal show / podcast / whatever. Thank you again so much, Adam, for coming on and taking the time to chill and talk, and hope to maybe bring you back on again for maybe season 3 or something like that.
Oh, I'd love to be back. Thank you so much for having me. It was an honor, and yeah, hopefully we do this again.
Yeah, absolutely.